Okay, all right. We made it. We made it to see yet another day. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for liking this video and commenting throughout the video and subscribing to the channel. Yes, I'm doing it early. That channel is Unks in the Building. UNCS. Unks in the Building. Once again with the resident Unc Byron here and the fantastic Auntie Stacey.
Hello.
Today we will once again be reading Reddit stories.
Yep. You ready?
Indeed.
All right. So this is from AITA. Am I the a-hole?
We love those.
Am I the a-hole for saying that my brother-in-law and his future wife can't sleep in our bedroom while we host them on their honeymoon?
Say that one more time.
Am I the a-hole for saying that my
No,
brother-in-law?
No, you're not. I need you to.
How you gonna ask me to reread it?
Because I just want to make sure I understood.
Okay.
No, your brother-in-law
And his future wife.
and his future wife
They can't stay in
on
our
their
bedroom,
honeymoon
sleep in our bedroom.
in the bedroom, in the master bed. So I got to get out.
Yeah.
No, sir.
All right. I-35. This is advice needed. Okay.
I thought you said this is MIA.
I know, but she put advice needed as well.
You don't need any advice. The answer is no. No. Set a boundary. Put your foot down. No.
I, 35 female, and my husband, 36 male, are fortunate enough to live in an area of the world that is very beautiful and as a result frequently visited for honeymoons. My brother-in-law, 30 male, and his soon-to-be wife, 28 female, are getting married in August and want to honeymoon in the area where my husband and I live. And they asked around a month ago if they could stay with us on their honeymoon. We agreed. They are family and also are tight on funds. We're happy to help and host them. However, they asked my husband last week if they could stay in our bedroom on their honeymoon.
Absolutely not.
We have a 2-bedroom home, and our guest room has an air mattress that is used for when friends and family stay. Otherwise, it is my work from home office. Hence why we don't have a typical mattress in there. My brother-in-law didn't really get into the specifics of why they didn't want the guest bedroom or air mattress, but the gist seemed to be we don't think an air mattress is honeymoon appropriate.
Valid point, but no.
When my husband asked me about it, I was honest with him and I said I wasn't comfortable with his brother and his new wife sleeping in our bed on their honeymoon.
Very true.
My husband agreed with me. Apparently, us saying no to this request has caused some issue in my husband's family.
Have a nice day.
Particularly with his sisters, who saying we should just let brother-in-law and his future wife stay in our room as it is their honeymoon and they shouldn't have to sleep on an air mattress.
I'm going to need you to find some money. How you going to get married broke to the point where you can't even postpone the honeymoon?
We love everyone in this scenario, especially brother-in-law and his future wife, and don't want to cause a rift. So my husband is sort of leaning towards acquiescing to their requests.
Absolutely not.
However, I am not down to change my mind on this.
This is true.
It honestly really grosses me out because I believe that the reason they want our bedroom is so that they can comfortably bang during their honeymoon on a regular, not air mattress.
That is 100% facts. That's the only reason to not do it. Yeah, I need you, again, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it. They're going to have to be upset.
Yeah.
They're going to have to be upset. There is no way I'm finna let somebody come to the house and I got to sleep on the air mattress?
My thing is who asked somebody to stay in their bedroom? Who does that? That's a
I don't care
wild request.
Let me tell you something.
Can I stay in your bedroom?
I
Your
don't care
marital
how
bedroom?
close you are
No.
with your sister.
I don't care what's going on. I'm not asking
If she
somebody to
gets
stay in their
married-
bedroom. That is what?
And ask to stay here. And then ask, hey, I know y'all got other bedrooms, but can we sleep in yours? Because I like the master bedroom. I need to feel like this is a suite on my honeymoon.
No, that's delusions of grandeur. And like, you guys asked to stay with us?
It's already a lot for you to be asking that. You put
And
me
the
out.
thing is, Okay, so the flight there, they might be living somewhere really beautiful, like Thailand or something like that. Hawaii, places that people.
But then they would have been able to afford a hotel because Thailand is not expensive.
But the
American
flight
dollar.
is expensive.
The flight is, but
And maybe that's what they can't afford. But my thing is, maybe they live in Fiji. Very expensive flight. Maldives, all that stuff. So maybe they live in those places, right? But you're getting a major discount by staying somewhere for free. That's usually the big cost. Maybe say, you know what, babe, let's go. We're going to have a good time. Let's get a hotel for 1 or 2 of those nights that we're there.
Or let's see if they'll be okay with us funding a real mattress. A bed frame is like $15.
Oh, a mattress is cheap. Like I bought a mattress on Amazon for like $179 for the guest bedroom.
Cheap is relative, so still, but
okay. Regular, I used to sell beds and stuff. Mattresses,
they be going for $600-$700 on the low end.
Are like $1,500 to $3,000.
Yeah.
Some of them are, $6,000 by the time you're done with everything.
Very much so.
$179,
relatively speaking,
is a good amount for a mattress, and that mattress is probably one of the most comfortable in the house.
We'll agree with
very
that.
nice.
We spent some money on the other one.
I know the cheap one is very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's comparable to ours, which is not like that price.
People be lying about all this extra soft stuff they put, all this technology you spend all these extra money on.
That one is like if you move, you can't feel. The other person moved $179, and the one that's rolled up, so you don't have to have this huge box.
Come on.
Anyways, that is a good idea.
And the little frame you can get them from Walmart.
Right, for like $20, $30, $40 max. Now, who knows if they have a Walmart and a thing like that? But I'm sure if they offered, hey guys, is it possible if we can sleep? Because air mattresses do suck. Let's keep it real.
They do.
And if they're coming for multiple days, that's terrible.
It's a lot.
But you could say, hey guys, would you be okay with us
buying a
mattress? That is a good idea.
Yeah, buy a mattress. I understand I want to sleep on an air mattress.
It doesn't even have to be
air
one
mattresses are terrible.
You don't even have to do the whole
sometimes
frame. Put the mattress on the floor.
Yeah, you could.
If you're that serious,
like, if you want to kind of set up to feel like a real bed,
right?
They even got those ones that's like the wood thing where like it's supposed to be. Like that kind of look like it's on the floor.
Mm-hmm. With the
kind
slats,
of do some flat situation and have it look nice. There's ways to do it very inexpensive. Amazon would be your friend.
But people are saying it is their honeymoon and they shouldn't have to spend it on an air mattress. But they're coming to my house.
Sacrifice,
then let them stay somewhere else.
You're not coming to the house and dictating
how my house where I'm staying.
Nah, I got to sleep on an air mattress.
I'm not doing it. Even if there was a perfectly good mattress in that room, I'm not sleeping in the guest bedroom for another couple so that they could have sex on my bed.
That's just weird.
Just not happening.
In general. No, I don't like it.
It's just not happening.
I don't like it.
The comment says, quote unquote, it's their honeymoon and they shouldn't have to sleep on an air mattress. Remind sister and the rest of the family that no one, let alone you and your husband, are forcing them to spend their honeymoon in your home. That is their choice and their request. Your guest bed happens to be an air mattress. If they think that an air mattress isn't good enough, they're free to choose any other location that isn't your home.
Exactly. And if it's expensive, you're making crazy assumptions because they might not even stay out the country. You're talking about, hey, it's expensive where we live at. Okay, maybe the hotels is,
are mad expensive or something over there?
Depends on the area. You can find some decent places.
There are some hotels that are like, $300 to $500 a night. Maybe they can't afford that in those really nice areas. Maybe they can't afford that, and that's the whole point of staying in the house. I just think it's crazy to ask someone to use their room.
No,
it's just weird. Nope. Okay, next story.
Sure.
All right. Am I overreacting?
Probably.
Am I overreacting? The wedding did not provide food for me.
Wait, what?
Went to a wedding and they did not provide food for me. I was invited to a wedding and traveled across the world for a wedding.
That's a long ways.
On the RSVP, it asked any dietary restrictions or allergies. I have a few severe food allergies, one of which would kill me. So I marked that on the form. I was reassured by the groom I would be able to eat. Wedding was tonight, and the only food safe for me was lettuce, chopped tomatoes, onions, and some stray vegetables. I was very visibly irritated, and everyone at my table could tell. I left briefly and came back to the wedding after realizing that there was no food and I needed to eat something before I kept going all night. Am I overreacting?
So the thing for the night seems to be, let me figure out a way to unreasonably have somebody accommodate me. Let me tell you how expensive food is typically when you get stuff catered. It's not cheap. And you got somebody who has all of these things that you would have. From what I understand, I don't understand everything, but from what I understand, when you're talking about catering, it's not where I want to sit back here and make this one special meal for this one individual who has all these allergies. Is you at a wedding. That means the bride want to eat fish. She want a specific type of fish. She wants some asparagus. She wants some mashed potatoes. She want a salad. Whatever she want to eat. Collard greens, neck bones, pig feet. If that's what that woman want to eat on her wedding day, that's what she should be eating. And she can come up with a menu that will satisfy the most of the people there. And you can pick and choose. Sometimes from the weddings I've been at, you have this meat or that meat. You know, it's a couple different choices you pick from, and that's it. When you start getting to the point where, well, I have a peanut allergy, and I have a fish allergy, and they start taking off what was the expectation? Because I'm like, I understand.
Well, the expectation is if you have on the menu, do you have any food allergies? And they point those things out. And then they have a discussion with the groom. And the groom guarantees that they will be able to eat at the wedding. The expectation is that I'll be able to eat at the wedding.
I get it. But I'm like.
And I flew across the country for this. Now, this is just
the
me.
world. She came across the world.
This is just me alone. I don't know, but I can't speak for other people. If I were a person with food allergies so severe that something could kill me, and there are lots of people like this, I'm making sure I eat or carry something with me that I know is safe. Because at a restaurant, you can check the menu prior to and see what's safe for you to eat, and then you can make those decisions or ask for substitutions and so forth and so forth. At a wedding, that's all the food that's there.
The food that's there.
There's no extra food.
They're not going to make no special plate either.
You know, there's a story in the comments where somebody's saying, well, I told the person that I was vegetarian. They brought out the menu. I want the vegetarian options. They brought out the salad, and they're like, this has meat in it. And the person serving is like, no, it's salad. And they're like, I understand that, but there's meat in here, like, you know, bacon. Mm-hmm. And so the person looks at it looks like chopped up meat, she said. So the waiter looks at the menu and like, oh, no meat, just prosciutto. And they're like, prosciutto is meat. And they're like, oh, okay. And they went back and they took it back and they made something without meat. So they made a salad without the prosciutto in it. But generally speaking, most vegans and vegetarians will let you know that when people say you can eat, people are it's a salad.
That's it.
They hardly
they
ever
sometimes
make
have those little, like, it'd be like a little wrap thing. And
the only time you're guaranteed, oh, you're going to be able to eat is if you go to an Indian or a Thai wedding or something like that, Asian wedding, where there'll be rice and stuff where people, the general amount of people are
eating that particular way.
eating that way. But if you know you're highly allergic to a lot of things, I would carry my own stuff, protein bars. You know, just something to tide me over.
Going to get her something to eat.
She did, and but the thing is, she was like overreacting because she was so mad. But That's to be expected. I don't know. Maybe people have different views with us, and maybe they'll be angry about it. But I would not expect people to accommodate. Like, if I'm on a strict diet, let's say, like all of a sudden I'm going on this, diet where I have to eliminate a lot of things. A lot of things are in the food. People love a lot of things that people don't want to eat. Like, there's dairy and stuff. Like, you have to go to a specific place to get that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And weddings are generalized foods.
For the masses, is they're not
making. And there's no chef back there with other ingredients that can make something. The food is pre-made. Like, that's it. And they only have the ingredients to make that thing.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to
have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Rather have a nice day.
Yeah.
My thing is that bad. How was you able just to run up the street and grab something and come back?
I don't know.
Come on, man. Something ain't. There's too many holes in that story.
Okay, moving on.
Please.
Am I the a-hole for sneaking out and causing my sister to lose her job?
Job is heavy. I'm gonna have to go yes. If you talking about sneaking out and they told you not to go nowhere, go ahead with the details. I want to hear.
My sister is 33 female and I'm 14 female. She had a baby 3 months ago. I just got out of school for the summer and really wanted to rest, but my sister decided she wants to finally get a job. Now she's making me babysit my niece.
Finally.
I have zero experience with babies and I get overstimulated easily. It's been really hard for me. I asked her if she could put the baby in daycare or something, but she refused. I decided to just suck it up, but it's been exhausting. I have insomnia and it's hard to sleep when I feel like I need to be awake 24/7 to watch the baby. I'm constantly scared something might happen if I fall asleep. I told my mom how I felt, but she said I just have to deal with it. Both my parents work, so I'm left alone with the baby for hours almost every day. A few days ago, I got tired of everything. The night before my sister got ready for work, I snuck out and went to my friend's house so I wouldn't have to deal with it and could finally get some sleep. When I came home that morning, I saw all the missed calls and messages from my mom. All the missed calls and messages, and my mom and sister were really mad at me. They said I was being selfish and lazy. My sister never even quit her job because I told her I'd leave again if she kept making me babysit. I finally felt bad after it feels like my whole family is barely talking to me except for my dad, and even he said I shouldn't have done that. Also, I love my niece. This isn't hate to her. She's adorable.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
A little edit for more info. I see my dad being brought up a bit, but he works in different places with steel work, so he's very rarely home. But we do call often. My niece's father doesn't want anything to do with her or my sister. It's been that way since she was pregnant. Anyway, so she left him and moved back in with us. She had a job before, but quit to take care of the baby when she was a newborn and up until now, of course. And her and my mom work at the same place, so they're both night shift jobs, and they're tired when they come home from working. So I usually have to watch my niece a bit longer so they can rest when they get home, since they expect me to sleep while I'm babysitting. But I just can't. I'm so paranoid something could happen. Even when I'm feeding the baby and she coughs even a little, or if she's sleeping too hard, I panic. And honestly, I didn't even know daycare wasn't free until I read these comments. I thought maybe it was like public school. Sorry.
I'm trying so hard not to say nothing wild.
Okay.
Society today is very different, right? Sounds to be like an intelligent 14-year-old.
Right.
However, like, and overstimulation is real. Okay, I'm not saying that it's not real. It's real. I'm just kind of like, a 14-year-old 20 years ago would have just took care of the baby, I feel like. And I feel like this right here, I'm overstimulated. I can't do it, so I'm going to sneak out. Feels like this is generation, whatever they calling themselves now. I don't see anybody born in the 80s saying, I'm overstimulated. I can't.
Let me say some things.
That's why I'm trying to fix my words first
I'm not mad at you.
Go ahead.
First of all, as a mother, and I understand having to step away from the child and going back to work. But I'm not leaving my 3-month-old with a 14-year-old kid.
That's true.
I'm just not. I don't care how responsible she is. I don't care if you don't know what to do on how to, you got to figure something else out. I'm not leaving my 3-month-old baby with a 14-year-old kid. Second of all, nobody, and I know a lot of times we don't want to give kids choice because they're kids. This child is not the mother of the child.
That's also true.
Why are you making her, during the summertime, take care? A job is 5 days a week. 5 days a week so 8 hours you're at work. It might be a 10-hour job. Who knows? But at least 10 hours out of the day, you're gone.
Remember, this is night shift. They're saying that she's supposed to just go to bed. Keep an ear out if the kid wakes up in the middle of the night. They're working overnight. This isn't, I'm up taking care of you all day long.
That's true. However, she's nervous about something going wrong with their child. She seemed to care more about this baby than the mama do.
Yeah.
Because
maybe
3 months, you know how small they are, 3 months?
3 months is very small.
A lot can go wrong. They're still in that whole SIDS, era where things can happen in their sleep. She's not wrong. I used to go and put my finger on my daughter's,
she was breathing.
Make sure she's breathing and stuff. Like, I would not do that. Now, no judgment to the mother. She got to do what she got to do. Build such and such and such. No judgment, because people make the decisions because they have to. But me, that's not happening. Secondly, if somebody is telling you, and they're 14 years old, I don't want to do this thing, and it is a life involved, figure something else out. Everyone's just like, suck it up. You just gotta suck it up. No, I'm not making somebody forcing a child to watch another child.
I'll say
that's where stuff goes wrong.
I'll say this. I missed the 3 months. I missed the age, how young they were. That is a problem. The thing is that we have to take into consideration is if there was no other option. We don't know the situation because it was kind of like...
You have to act like that 14-year-old doesn't exist and figure something out.
But that's the thing is, what is to figure something out if
I
she
don't
has no
know.
other
Everybody
income?
else does it.
Everybody else, they work.
I'm saying everyone else in the world figures something out when they don't have a 14-year-old sister.
Yeah.
To deal with it.
Yeah. Well,
they're going to, maybe I'm sounding too harsh, but it needs to be...
They're going to pay for daycare, most likely is what they would do.
Well, night care or something. Have someone come over, an adult. 14-year-old is not an adult. 14-year-old is a child.
Yeah.
4 years ago, they were 10.
Right.
Like, I don't see a 14-year-old... Well, I know they know what to do and stuff, but I don't... To me... So here's why I'm triggered. Here's why I'm triggered.
Go ahead.
And this did not happen to me. I was the baby in this situation.
Okay.
I don't like when you take away a child's childhood. Let them be a child and not have to mother their siblings.
Understood.
Because there's issues for that person later on in life. So, yes, they might be immature because she's writing eloquently. She's explaining herself.
Very smart.
She also seems to not be stable. I have insomnia. A 14-year-old with insomnia. What's happening there?
What's happening? And that's what I'm saying. Like,
extra stress about, I don't know, I'm afraid something will happen to her. That's extra stress on the body for the child. So let this child be a child. Let them do the stuff 14-year-olds do. I don't know, at this age stage in life, whatever it is they do, doing the gritty stuff. I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know what they're doing.
But taking care of a baby shouldn't have to be one of them. And I understand that life is life, right?
Right.
But if it is like, I don't mind. If I'm sleeping and I wake up, I can do. But if she's like causing her anxiety, because there are moms who experience this.
Right.
And we get them help. That's, part of the postpartum experience for some people. They have that. And then we say, go get the therapy. Go get your help. So that, what's this kid doing?
Right.
And them leaving and sneaking out of the house shows me that she's 14 years old.
Yeah.
That was an immature response. But guess what? She's 14.
Right.
And you forced her, and she felt like she didn't have a voice because she said, I'm uncomfortable with this. And then she went to the mom and said, I'm uncomfortable with this. And now the only thing she could do, she could finally get some sleep.
Right. Let me separate these two different thoughts. This is talking about stuff that I was battling while I paused for a second, right? Should she be taking care of a 3-month-old by herself? No. Okay? No. If you're put in that position where I don't know how grave the sister's situation is, like, okay, I need this money or we gonna be homeless.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's what she said. She said, I have no experience taking care of children.
Right.
So it's not within those 3 months the sister was like, here, hold her, teaching her stuff. She was just like, all right, I'm going to go to work, so you're going to take
We don't
care
know
of this
that.
kid. That's her experience.
That might be what it is.
She said,
but
my sister finally decided she wanted to go back to work, and she's like, now you're taking care of the baby. Because her saying she has zero experience taking care of a kid, she hasn't been taking care of the kid in between for the 3 months. It's not like she's like, okay, now, and prepping her for that or getting her agreement or any of the situation. It just feels like she was kind of like
thrown into it.
Yes, and forced into it.
That feels like an assumption.
Okay.
But it could very well be true. It could be true. She never held a baby. She was just kind of like, hey, she's going to be sleeping in the other room. If she wake up, give her a bottle, change the diaper, whatever, lay her back down, you go ahead back to sleep. This is probably how her sister's looking at life. Looking at it like, hey, the baby's going to be asleep most of the night. If she makes some noise, go in there and check on her. Otherwise, go ahead, get your rest. Wake up the next day, do whatever. I get it. I understand.
But I understand that in our day they had babysitters club.
And those people was 15.
It wasn't 3-month-old children though.
I get it. I understand.
The difference. Now, if this is a 4-year-old,
it'll be a bigger problem for you to sneak out. Because then it's like you just don't want responsibility.
Not a bigger problem to sneak out. I'm just saying if it was a 4-year-old, it's easier to have conversations. But like, I need you to do da da da. Right. Go to bed.
No, I'm saying it would be a bigger problem for the 14-year-old. I still wouldn't
do the thing. Leave my child with a 14-year-old, but.
And hence we have the difference between the way it used to be. 14 and 15-year-old people was babysitting. That's what they did.
Babysitters club, yeah, 14 to 16. I think they were 16.
You was middle of your high school tenure, and you went and you babysitted people for money. It was the neighborhood kids you took care of. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's what you did. And it's like now, that's why I'm like something is broken because some of these 14, 15-year-olds, it's like, man, never. I'm going to blame Generation X. I'm going to blame them. It's the one, because I feel like that was the older ones, and then us, and then as we went on, we got progressively worse with not wanting to raise our kids a certain way. I'm going to say what I mean, because I remember the shift between that if you're not first, you're last, to everybody getting participation trophies.
Yeah, but I always thought that was garbage.
I was like, what is this? You can't just show up, or you get a prize for showing up. What is, no, I don't want to play.
Right.
I won. Right. I didn't lose. I won. No, everybody wins. What is this?
Right.
That started with us.
Yes. Our kids. It started with our kids.
No. I'm talking about Generation X kids, like the people who was growing up late 90s, early 2000s was on that, like when they was
that's not
5,
our
6, 7.
Then.
We was too young to have kids. Well, some of us had kids, but we wasn't having kids like that. I'm saying, like, when I say it's our generation, it's the older one, us. And then the people who was born late, Generation X, was having kids and raising up them to be that way.
I remember being young and people talk about participation. I don't know how young
participation
I was.
Trophies.
I must have been in my 20s.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, people had kids then. Yeah. But participation trophies, I don't know who created that. That must have been, was it our generation?
Yeah, like when we
Because,
start getting the jobs as the principals and stuff like
Right.
that, and the teachers, that's when stuff got soft,
Right.
and we started. Well, I don't think it's fair. Remember how we was at that picnic and that little boy kept coming around
Looking for a prize.
just give him the ball. No, you
I gave
lost.
him the ball.
You lost. You lost.
I gave him the ball.
Because he was just being annoying.
He was being annoying. And I was like, I'm just going to get him out of my face.
You lost, bro. You lost,
But,
man. You lost.
Come
you
to
didn't
find
win.
out, he was not a part of the picnic.
No, just
no one's kid.
we don't know where he came from. You lost.
Anyways.
And that's the thing is,
yeah.
like, they wanted you want a prize just for showing up, and it's like, no.
But you know what it is? What I realized? The age gap between the two.
What are you talking about?
The sister's 33, and the other sister is 14.
Mm-hmm.
That 33-year-old sister took care of her when she was 14. Because her
Probably
parents were
so.
working. And she's like, this ain't nothing.
That's a prime example.
This
of
is what happened.
The exact same thing
I
probably
took
happened
care
to her
of you. I
when
didn't
you
have
was
no
young.
childhood. This ain't nothing. I did it. I'm out of here. And it may
Go
not
to
have
sleep.
been when she was 3 months. It may have been
May
when she
have
was 3
been.
months. But she did that stuff, but it is not okay to pass that on.
No. But that's probably the
This
mentality
is why she's
is
being
like,
insensitive.
we
And
work
the mom
nights,
and
go
dad
to
too.
sleep. She's going to be fine.
The
Wake
mom
up
and
in
dad
the
too.
morning. But now she's like, oh, I got insomnia. So advice, and we got to wrap up now soon. But get some help for that insomnia. What is causing that? That ain't the baby.
Stress. Let's see what the people have to say and see if we were wrong, and then we can wrap it up. You're not the a-hole. You did what you had to do out of desperation. Sit down with your mom and dad and say calmly, sister is 33. She's chose to have a child, and that means it is her responsibility to figure out childcare instead of trying to steal my childhood from me. You are being irresponsible parents by allowing... Yeah, who's going to say this to their parents? This is ridiculous. You're being irresponsible parents by allowing her to abuse me in this way. I will not be babysitting again, and if I'm left alone with a child again, I will call the police and... Okay.
I'm going to
That's
need
a
that
lot.
person to chill.
That's a lot. That got a lot of upvotes, though, and awards. But somebody said...
You're trying to have that kid in foster care, and that's the better place for him, right? Sarcastically, no.
Right. The parents are the ones being abusive. Why would they let their 14-year-old have to watch a baby 24/7? And why are they so clueless how hard it is for OP? They're clueless because it's easier on them to demand something from the 14-year-old rather than to insist that the 33-year-old actually parent their child. Why isn't she going after the father for child support so she can afford a babysitter? That's
there
my
you
thing.
go. Daycare can be afforded, but the thing. So I'm gonna say this.
This person said, 100% understand this viewpoint now, but if she's from a background like mine, I started babysitting at 9. That's normal in the community I'm from in the U.S. because everyone is dirt poor, and I understood that. As the oldest, I had responsibilities to my family. I also started working under the table at 13. Yeah, it wasn't fun having responsibilities like at that age, but I had the advantage of not knowing that it wasn't normal because every family did it. That being said, I never watched anyone under 4, and watching a baby is a completely different story. I'm terrified to watch a baby as an adult. But remember Babysitters Club? They were 12, 13.
Also, very accurate. 3 months is crazy.
It is. But I realize now that this 33-year-old took care of the 14-year-old. Because that's why the dad is like, you shouldn't have done that, bro. But because they did it to their other kid.
Most
and now they're
likely
seeing it
that's
happen.
what happened.
And this person writing that they were babysitting at 9 because they were poor, that's sad. And it's not okay.
I know it's not okay. But that's the stuff that, like, you saw it a whole lot.
Yeah, but that why
it was
okay.
almost it was, and the thing is, like, you gotta think about this, right? How society was, and this is where I'm saying, like, I believe that people now are kind of. Let me not even talk about people now. Even in our generation, you see the spectrum of young-mindedness versus maturity is just like, oh my gosh. I remember being in people's weddings when I was young, like ring bearer weddings. They was getting married like 18, 19, straight out of high school. It was a thing, right? Now people get married for the first time 33, 34 on a good day.
That's right.
It's like this supreme delay in growing up and just being like, and not to say marriage is growing up, but it's just like there's this delay in growing up. Like people want to stay childlike for so long. It's this, I'm gonna live my life, I'm gonna live my best life, I'm gonna turn up, I'm gonna live college, party. Okay, now I'm gonna finally get my life together. I'm 35, I'm gonna start trying to be, and it's like the mentality shifted so far from, that was what, mid 90s when that was happening, when people was like, yo, I'm 20, man, woof, I gotta figure this out. Okay, let's go out, I'm gonna get me a job. I know the job market is different, I know, but there should still be something inside of you that's being like, I remember somebody asked me when I turned 30, did I have a moment? Because they had a moment. It was a young lady who used to work with my father. Like, yo, I remember when I turned 30 and I really felt like I need to get my life together. And I was like, people have these moments in time where they feel like, okay, a switch went. And that's like, I feel like there's a lot of people in our generation and then down. Those moments are not happening where it's stopping and saying like, yo, I need to get my life together. People are still playing. 40, 45, up to I think 50 years old, still playing. I have to make sure that I'm answering this right, because a part of me is a little insensitive over it, and I know it's not right to be insensitive. But I'm like, if I compare it to where we were from, where I seen that, you 10, you got left with younger siblings, you got left alone, you 12, you a latchkey kid. When nobody there, your parent might have got home 7, 8 o'clock that night. Young people in there cooking and stuff, like I've seen it. So it's like for you to say, oh, I got insomnia, I'm melting down. I'm like, it's real. I know it's real, but I also understand, I feel like now that there's a label, there's a diagnosis for everything. People are taking them labels and they're using some stuff, not everything. Let me put this disclaimer on it, but some stuff, people are using it as a crutch to not have to take responsibility for their actions.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So now there might not be this young ladies, but I'm telling you the thought processes I was having at that moment. She could be, hey, my insomnia is real. I got this problem. I take this medication. They should have known because I can't do this. Meltdown, whatever.
But what you're talking about is trauma. They shouldn't have been doing that.
Right.
10 years old and 9 years old having to do that. No. And our generation looked at that and said, I'm enjoying my life. Also, what I was about to say was that my mom at my age looked twice my age. She looks much younger now because she has less stress in her life.
Right.
But people, when you look at Blanche and them, we know those memes where they show you the age that they were.
33 like, and looking 60. What? They looked old in high school, bro. You look at them pictures, they be looking 40 and they was 17. You're right. It
was a tough time because they were living hard. They were like 18, 19 getting married, and serious stuff was happening. Second of all, the internet lets you know the world is massive and there's a lot of choice out there, to the point where there's too much choice where people can't make a decision.
Right.
That's why they wait.
Yeah.
They wait forever because there's always another more beautiful person or another more beautiful place that I haven't been to that lets me know that if I make this choice with this person, there might be somebody out there that's a better choice. So let me just hold off forever. Or I also see, it used to be, you saw the people getting married around you. The world was what you lived in.
Yep.
Right? So you saw the people getting married around you. People stayed together a lot of times because divorce was like a bad thing. They didn't want to look at it, especially if you're in a church vibes. People really just stay together.
Yeah.
Then the internet opened up the world where you're like, this world is huge. There's a lot more beautiful people around here. People got infatuated with all the things that they could see. Then they wanted to travel and go all around, and being seen was more of a thing than settling down or going around and seeing things and doing things and meeting new people. Then you have the world of like Tinder and Bumble and all these things that people are on, that they're meeting all these people. So you feel like the world is so accessible now.
Decision paralysis happens.
Too many choices. That's part of the Instagram thing. You should be eating this and doing this and drinking this, and you need to drink. Make sure you're getting your protein, and then make sure you're getting this, and drink this, and don't drink late at night. There's so many things that you should be doing that it's impossible to do it all. If you were to just to do the self-help things, you wouldn't have time for a job. You know, or all the things you're supposed to do. So it's like they don't know what decision to make. So they're like, you know what, I am the decision I am going to make. Nobody's going to make me do what I don't want to do when I don't want to do it. I know I have to go to this job. Even now, the next generation, these kids, they don't even want to work.
No job.
You're not going to tell me what time I need to be here.
Ain't no customer service, no job.
I don't want to do it.
I'm just going to
be a creator and figure it out. So, you know, the world has changed in that regard, where it's like, I'm 14 and I still want to be a kid. My other friends aren't doing this. It's not normal. Like, remember the girl said, I didn't know it was whoever wrote it. I was 9 years old and I babysat all the other kids because everybody else around me was doing it. Yeah. My other friends are 14. They're not doing that.
Right.
And like you say, people are playing further. Playing is the word you use. Playing further and further. They're taking less time to do the more serious things. Time to do the more serious things. A 14-year-old now is very different than a 14-year-old. Because even further on, if you look back at the other generation, your parents, they're like, I got married at 14.
You're an old maid at 16
I got married
years
at 14. What are you doing? I was married with a kid at 14. And we would look at that like, what are you talking about? So every generation, and the thing is, we're also living longer than they did.
Yeah,
and we look biologically, we look younger than they did. Yeah, but that was also changing.
Yeah, not as rapidly.
Not as rapidly, but it is.
Yeah, but that biological clock is very real.
That's only if you want kids that matters. Yeah. A lot of people don't want to have that decision.
And birth rate going down.
A lot of people don't want to have have that life. They want to have a child-free life, and that's a thing that they want. So, like I said, the world is changing, and you wanting it to be like, oh, that's soft. I disagree with that. Okay. You saying that, well, that's not okay. She shouldn't have to do that. She's also a child. And she wasn't at choice. Those babysitters, that babysitters club was a girls full of choice. They wanted to do it. They were in a club. They were excited about it. That's a totally different thing. When you're at choice and you're doing something, the way you approach the thing is totally different than I'm forced to do this thing.
Right.
That's what causes the trauma. So I don't agree that she should be doing it. Now, should she help out? Should she help out? Yes, you're a part of this family. You're a part of this family, so you're going to help out here and there. But the baby is not your responsibility. The mother exists over here.
Every night is wild, and the baby's too young. That will be the reasons that I would be against it. How she handled it was like a 14-year-old.
But she's passing down trauma.
What you mean?
33-year-old sister. Oh, yeah, I took care of you, so you're going to take care of my child.
She's looking at it like it's nothing because she did it.
And I did it. And you didn't die. So let's keep it moving.
And the other part is, try not to have babies with people who don't love you. It is what it is. All this could have been solved if we would have made different decisions on that end.
Right. And the thing is, she came back in to move in with them. And she wasn't prepared for that. Right. He didn't want to have nothing, so she came back in and she wasn't prepared to be like, okay, my summers are not going to be taking care of this kid. When you're 14, you want your summer to do whatever, relax and hang out with your friends and whatever else. You go to the mall and whatever else 14-year-olds do now. But anyways, that's it. The choosing of the person is also on you. And that's not victim blaming. That's you taking responsibility
who you chose.
For the brokenness that's inside of you that attracted the brokenness inside of that person. And you didn't heal it before you met that person. Right? And then there are people who get like, oh, I'm blindsided. I did not see this happening. 99% of the times there are signs were there that you ignored.
There's too many ways to avoid.
And then it
even
came
getting
from
pregnant.
her not having a childhood. When she was 14, she was also taking care of her
She might have did it
sister.
on purpose though. She real grown, and that's what I'm talking about. That switch that hit. And now I got to start a family because I'm getting older. You see what I'm saying?
Maybe.
It could have been even one of those,
But that's a trauma response
bro.
too.
And that
To use these terms, these
people-
overused terms.
folks, do the best you can. Try to raise your kids right yourself. But before we get in the situation, you have to learn from other people's mistakes. Because what should not happen is this 14-year-old gets forced into this situation, and then I'm gonna get old, I'm gonna have a kid. Well, my parents did it to me, and then pass it on to the next generation and have them doing the same thing. And now this 3-month-old, when they get 14, is taking care of a 3-month-old. Stop that.
And she's also traumatized from the man not wanting to do anything with the baby or her.
The 33-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a
That's
lot.
tough.
It's a lot going on. Speaking of a lot going on, we got to wrap up. I do appreciate you continuing to like, comment, subscribe, share the podcast. Thank you, and good night.
Good night. Bye.